We're at the last challenge for intermediate month, and Carl's given us a nice long one to finish off this series with. So we're working with the same data set that we were working with last week. And so that means that we have to do a couple of the same changes. So we need to group together these two values. We need to split up this field and rename things. So that's what I've done in the first two steps here. So I've got merging together these units to be the minutes. And I've got splitting up this F5 field so that it turns into coach, calories, and music type. Okay, next we need to change our date to be a year instead of the individual dates. So we go to convert dates and choose year number. Okay, and that will mean that we get 2020 to 2022 coming out there. Okay, I filtered out 2020 because it doesn't appear in the solution. So that's the only other additional change that I have made there. And I've also renamed the field, so oops, bit of a lie. Okay, so we had multiple aggregations that we wanted to complete here. So to get the total distance, before we go into aggregating the total minutes, total number of rides, and so on and so forth, we need to work out the total distance. And the way that we do that is by using our parameter. So we do our number of minutes over 60 times by the average speed, and that is chosen in a parameter. So let's just show that parameter that I created before, sorry. So it's just called average riding speed in kilometers per hour. It's a number. I allowed there to be decimals in case anyone wanted to put those in, and all values are allowed. The reason I've set it to 30 is that's just what the solution table is set at. Okay, so that creates us our total distance, so that in our aggregation step we can group by our year, we can sum up our total distance, we can do our average calories, we can do our number of rows, which tells us how many rides there are, so total number of rides, and then we've got our minutes there as well. So as I was building this solution, I didn't know that all of these fields would be in one aggregate step, but as I made my way down the list, I realized if we're just going at the year level, then all of these four can be done in one aggregate step. So then it was just a case of doing a little bit of renaming there so that everything got updated, in particular the number of rows to the total rides. Otherwise that wouldn't make a lot of sense to end users. So there we go, that's all of our fields that we got through there. Next, we're doing total minutes by coach. So that's simply summing up those total minutes, adding in the coach as well to our year there. And again, what we need to do is a little bit more complicated this time. So we have, for each year, we have all of the coaches and their total minutes. We actually only want to return the coach who did the maximum number of minutes each year. So we need to first of all work that out. So go to the minutes field, go to the drop down there, create a calculator field, and create the fixed LOD for max. So if I open that up here, then you can see that we have for each year, we've got the max number of minutes. And then we do a quick filter there. So we want to only keep those coaches, so max minutes equals to the total minutes per coach there. Okay, so now we're back down to 2 rows for our 2 years. And then we just want to do a little bit of reformatting. So for total minutes per coach, we want to have our coach plus an opening bracket. And then we need to turn our total minutes per coach into a string value and put the closing bracket on the end as well. So there we go, that matches what the output says we should have. And then we can just remove that coach field. Okay, so now we need to work out the calories per minute to be able to finish off with the final couple of aggregations. So our calories per minute is simply our calories divided by our number of minutes. So that's our additional calculated field for this step. And then we need to just aggregate this for each coach. So the average calories per minute there, grouping by the coach and the year. And we're doing a similar thing to what we just did with the total minutes per coach, but we're doing it with the average calories. So we are, again, creating our fixed LOD so that we do the max calories per minute, The only additional thing here that I did was round our calories per minute to 1 decimal place first. And then we're doing that filter so that we only have those 2 rows remaining. Then we can get rid of that additional field and create our calculated field that has those brackets. You may notice that for 2021 there, our 15.2 became 15.1999999. That's to do with when you're changing a number into a string, sometimes the rounding kind of goes like this. But we won't worry too much about that because that's how the ideal output is for this solution. Okay, and final one, we just want the average calories per minute overall, so grouping by the year, doing the average calories per minute. Could we have done this calculation a little bit sooner so that it could be included in this aggregation? Yes, it could have, but it's not in this solution. Okay, so we're just rounding that to 1 decimal place and doing a little bit of renaming. And then we can just join all these different 4 branches together. So we need 3 join steps in order to do that, just joining on the year. You can see it just stays at 2 rows all the time when we're joining those years together. And then we can remove all those additional years from those joins. And then we've just got a little bit of reshaping to do. So in our pivot step here, we're just taking all of those measures and pivoting those, doing columns to rows and renaming that to be measure. And then for our rows columns, we just take the years from the rows and take those values to be the new values. And then if we look in our final step there, this is looking very similar to what Carl had. Our sort order is a little bit different for our measures down here, but that's okay. It's just the way that the data is ordered, and that's not important in prep. Okay, so quite a long one, but hopefully an enjoyable one. And thanks very much for watching.